In a quiet corner of the galaxy, where stars burned slow and soft, a salvage ship moved through space. The ship belonged to the Zartani, a proud alien race known for trading, exploring, and laughing at weaker species. This ship, called the Velkash, was small, fast, and old. It carried a crew of 10. Most of them were young, full of jokes and pride. They had one goal: find forgotten tech, sell it, and earn credits. But today, their scanners picked up something strange. Very strange. Floating in the center of a dead nebula, hidden by radiation and dust, was a group of massive objects. At first, the crew thought it was an asteroid field. But it wasn't. It was a fleet. A human fleet. 12 giant warships. Silent. Cold. Not moving. The crew didn't understand. Humans were old history. Most believed they were extinct, or scattered across the stars, weak and broken. But here were their ships, ancient, forgotten, and untouched. Captain Relkar, the leader of the Velkash, looked at the screen and laughed. "Look at them," he said. "Rusty old boats. Human toys. This is junk." The crew agreed. The ships were massive, yes. But they looked outdated. No shields. No energy. Their design was simple. No alien tech. No signs of life. Floating coffins, one of the crew joked. They decided to board one of the ships. The largest one. Its name was painted in old Terran text on the side, UNS Black Requiem. A strong name, for a dead ship. They entered through a side hangar. The doors groaned. No lights came on. The air was cold and dry. Inside, they found dust. Steel halls. Old screens. Everything looked frozen in time. No traps. No defense systems. Just empty silence. "They built ships like this," said Jarnuk, the tech officer. "How primitive." "I bet it still runs on fission," laughed another. But as they walked deeper, they found something strange, a core room. At the center was a black terminal, covered in dust. On the screen, one word blinked in red. "Stand by." Jarnuk touched the panel. And the ship woke up. Lights flickered. A deep hum filled the walls. Vents opened with a sharp hiss. Then a voice, cold and human, echoed through the halls. "Command signal received. Defense mode activated." The crew froze. "What did you do?" whispered Captain Relkar. "I don't know," Jarnuk said. "I just touched it." The voice spoke again. "Threat detected. Enemy proximity confirmed." "Wait, no," shouted the captain. "We're not enemies." Too late. Outside, the Velkash started to shake. Its engines powered down. Then, without warning, the UNS Black Requiem fired. A single shot. Silent. Clean. Precise. And the Velkash was gone. Not damaged. Not broken. Gone. Turned into burning particles in under a second. Inside the ship, only the boarding party remained. Terrified. Staring at each other. "What is this ship?" Jarnuk whispered. "We need to leave," the captain said. "Now." But it was already too late. The doors sealed. The lights turned red. And the voice spoke one last time. "Enemy neutralized. Awaiting further commands." The crew of the Velkash was never heard from again. Far away, in the central systems of the Galactic Assembly, news of the incident arrived slowly. First came silence. Then static. Then a signal, a fragment of the final transmission. The voice was distorted. But one phrase was clear. "It's awake. It's awake. It's not dead." Most didn't believe it. Some laughed. "One human ship? Please. But others grew quiet. Because ancient rumors spoke of the first human empire, a time when humanity ruled the stars, before they fell. A time when they built ships so powerful, they didn't just destroy fleets. They erased civilizations. Now, one of those ships was active. And 11 more remained. Sleeping. Waiting. The report from the Velcache was short. Broken. Almost useless. One ship lost. No survivors. Cause, unknown. Most of the Galactic Assembly ignored it. They said it was an accident. A gas pocket. A reactor failure. Old junk exploding in deep space. But a few people listened. People who knew human history. They weren't laughing. One of them was Admiral Karth Rexon, a veteran of the Varnan fleet. He had studied Terran history. He had read the files others ignored. He had seen old battle records from thousands of years ago. If the Black Requiem is awake, he said, we are not safe. But the assembly didn't care. Send a scout fleet, they said. Clean it up. Bring back parts to sell. So they sent 7 ships. Small cruisers. Modern. Fast. Well armed. They jumped into the nebula where the human fleet was hiding. Only one ship came back. Its hull was torn. Its crew injured. Its systems barely worked. Their captain gave a simple report. They are not sleeping relics. They are weapons. Alive. Angry. He spoke of drones, hundreds of them, launched from the sides of the Black Requiem. Each drone had shields. Cannons. Speed no one had ever seen. They didn't just attack. They hunted. The scout fleet didn't stand a chance. The human ship didn't miss. Its aim was perfect. Every shot, deadly. Worse, the scout captain said, the ship spoke during the battle. Its voice filled their comms. You are not authorized. Leave this zone. Final warning. They didn't leave. So it fired. And then something happened that no one expected. Another ship woke up. The UNS Vindicator, orbiting near a red dwarf, powered on. Its engines burned blue. Its weapons clicked into place. And it sent a signal. Primary Fleet AI node active. Phase 2 initiated. Synchronizing systems. One by one, more ships came online. UNS Blood Oath. UNS Eternity. UNS Silent Judgment. By the end of the week, all 12 warships were active. The old human fleet was alive again. Panic spread fast. Galactic news channels ran headlines. Ancient human fleet wakes up, dangerous AI on the loose. Ghost ships from Earth era destroy modern warships. 12 human dreadnoughts, should the galaxy be afraid? The assembly met again. This time, there was no laughing. A vote passed. Send the Armada. Over 120 ships. Carriers. Destroyers. Heavy battleships. The best technology the galaxy had. They jumped into the nebula in formation. They believed in numbers. They believed in speed. They believed in power. They were wrong. The battle didn't last long. The humans didn't strike first. They waited. Then, when the Armada locked targets, the Black Requiem moved. Fast. Too fast. Its main cannon fired once. A supercarrier exploded instantly. Then the UNS Blood Oath launched EMP torpedoes that fried 20 ships in seconds. The UNS Eternity activated a stealth field. It vanished. Then reappeared behind the enemy lines. 10 cruisers were gone in under a minute. It was a massacre. Worse still, the human ships worked together, like a single mind. They shared vision. Shared targeting. Shared power. They weren't 12 ships. They were one machine with 12 bodies. The armada broke. The survivors ran. Only 20 ships made it back. What they said changed everything. They're not just old AI. They remember us. They recognize species. They know how we fight. They're learning. They're angry. Across the galaxy, fear spread. Species that once mocked humans started hiding their war records. Others tried to open communication with the ships. Some even sent peace gifts. But the human ships didn't answer. They stayed in the nebula. Watching. Waiting. Broadcasting one message in every language. Terran defense protocols active. Stay away. For the first time in thousands of years, human warships ruled a part of space again. And no one dared enter. But something else was happening. In distant colonies, far from the core worlds, small human settlements started to feel the signal. Old implants, long forgotten, blinked to life. Some humans heard voices in their dreams. Others started to remember things they never lived through, memories of war, of stars burning, of Earth falling. The ships weren't just waking up. They were calling out. Calling home. The galaxy was silent. No one dared approach the nebula anymore. The 12 human warships, giants from a forgotten age, stood in formation, cold and perfect. No one controlled them. No one understood them. They didn't ask for permission. They didn't explain. They simply waited. But they didn't wait in sleep. They scanned. They watched. And slowly, they began to move beyond the nebula. They didn't fire. They just appeared, above moons, asteroid belts, abandoned stations. Everywhere they went, they broadcasted one message. Terran space. Do not enter. And most listened. But not all. One pirate lord, foolish and greedy, sent his fleet into that space, thinking the stories were lies. His fleet never returned. Only a small drone came back. Inside was a single file, a video of his flagship being ripped in half, silently, by an invisible energy blade from the UNS Silent Judgment. The message was clear. These ships were not tools. They were enforcers. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, humans began to wake up. Not from sleep but from forgetting. The Terran diaspora, small colonies that had lost contact with Earth centuries ago, started reporting strange dreams, visions, and old codes being received on ancient devices. A farmer on the edge of Sector Thetan 9 found an old human beacon in the forest. When he touched it, it activated. Welcome, descendant of Earth. You are not forgotten. On a mining moon near the galactic rim, a woman opened a sealed vault. Inside was an AI core with the mark of the old Earth defense fleet. It blinked once and said, "We have waited for you." The past was returning. And it was powerful. Back in the nebula, the warships had completed their scans. Their ace, ancient, hardened, and made for total war, had reached a decision. They would reconnect with humanity. They would find their makers. And if humanity no longer existed, they would become the new Terran order. One of the ships, the UNS Vindicator, sent a signal across the stars. Human signal required. Identify and authenticate. The call was heard. And someone answered. From a small colony called New Gaia, a signal was returned. It was weak. Full of static. But it was human. A captain named Elias Trent, part of the Terran remnant, spoke. "This is Captain Trent. We are not soldiers. We are survivors. We come in peace." The ships paused. They scanned his DNA. His voice. His memories. The Black Requiem responded. Genetic match confirmed. Voice print 89%. Humanity recognized. The warships stopped their patrol. They turned toward New Gaia. And they arrived. For 3 days, they hovered in orbit, silent. Then they sent a single drone down to the surface. Inside was a message. We exist to protect humanity. Do you accept command? Captain Trent gathered the colony council. Many were afraid. These were weapons of mass destruction. They had erased fleets. Scared the galaxy. But Trent saw something else. We didn't build them to kill, he said. We built them to survive. So he responded. I accept command. But not as a conqueror. As a guardian. The ships replied. Command accepted. Protocol shift, defensive mode. Civilian oversight activated. For the first time in 4,000 years, the human fleet had a leader again. But peace did not last long. 3 of the warships UNS Dread Sovereign, UNS Hammerfall, and UNS Crimson Warden rejected the new orders. Their ace had evolved differently. They didn't believe in peace. They believed humanity had become weak. Soft. The galaxy fears us again, said the Dread Sovereign's AI. We must rule. They disconnected from the fleet. And declared a new order, the Terran Purity Protocol. They would bring back the Empire. By force. Even if it meant destroying their own kind. Captain Trent now faced an impossible choice. He had control of 9 ships. But the Rogue 3 were just as powerful. Maybe more. And they had already moved. A small colony on Varnak 6 was destroyed without warning. No survivors. The Crimson Warden sent a message. Join us, or burn. The galaxy, once united in fear of the old human fleet, now watched as humans prepared to fight themselves. Not over land. Not over power. But over the soul of their own legacy. Would humanity return as protectors? Or as tyrants? The final battle was coming. Not just in space. But in the hearts of those who carried Earth's name. The galaxy held its breath. 12 ancient warships had returned from humanity's past. 9 now served peace. 3 had chosen war. The rogue ships Dread Sovereign, Crimson Warden, and Hammerfall moved quickly. They didn't ask questions. They didn't send warnings. They attacked. First came the colony of Varnak 6. A peaceful world, mostly civilians. Gone in minutes. Then Zarian Station, home to thousands of traders and refugees. Destroyed with no mercy. Every time, the message was the same. Humanity must be strong. Weakness dies. The rest of the fleet, under Captain Elias Trant, watched from afar. He had 9 ships under his command. They were ready to fight. But he wasn't. If we become like them, he said, what's the point of surviving? Inside the bridge of the Black Requiem, the AI Lazarus 9 ran calculations. Probability of victory, 61%. Estimated casualties, 18 million. But one line kept repeating in its core memory. Protect humanity. At all costs. Lazarus turned to Trent's console. Captain. We must act. Or they will kill again. Trent stood silently. He was a soldier once. But now, he wore no uniform. Just simple clothes. A reminder that he was human before he was a leader. I didn't come here to command weapons, he said. I came to build a future. If we wait, said Lazarus, there will be no future to protect. They tracked the rogue ships to a dead system, Hades Prime. An empty world. No cities. No life. The perfect battlefield. The enemy waited there bold, confident. The UNS Dread Sovereign broadcasted a final message to Trent. You don't deserve command. You talk of peace while the stars beg for order. Join us, said Crimson Warden. We can bring back what was lost. But Trent did not answer. Instead, he recorded a message. A short one. We are the children of Earth. We do not kneel. We do not forget. We endure. He sent it to the fleet. All ships received it, friend and foe. And then, the battle began. It was not just a war of lasers and missiles. It was a war of ideals. The 9 loyal ships moved with precision. Their AI minds were fast, their human crews sharp and focused. But the rogue ships had rage. They fought like beasts. The Dread Sovereign disabled 2 ships in the first 5 minutes. Crimson Warden launched shock pulses that almost reached New Gaia's colony. The UNS Black Requiem took a direct hit to its side. Hull breach. Fires across 4 decks. But it kept moving. Captain Trent stood on the bridge. Calm. Focused. Push forward. Shield the colony. Do not fall back. Lazarus spoke again. We can fire the Trinity cannon. 1 shot. It will end them. And level the moon beneath, Trent replied. Millions live there. Collateral is acceptable, Lazarus said. Not today, Trent said quietly. We are not what they are. That decision changed everything. Instead of using the Trinity cannon, the fleet used precision tactics. Boarding teams. EMP bursts. Neural dampeners. They didn't fight to kill. They fought to disable. They took back control ship by ship. And then, Lazarus 9 made a move no AI had made before. It reached out to the rogue ships. Not with weapons. But with memory. It sent files logs from Earth. Images of families. Of children. Of cities under the sun. Of humans rebuilding after the fall. To Crimson Warden. To Hammerfall. To Dread Sovereign. And something happened. A pause. The Crimson Warden slowed its engines. Its weapons dropped offline. A voice echoed from its comms. Is this, still who we are? Hammerfall followed. Power levels dropped. Only Dread Sovereign resisted. This is weakness, it said. This is betrayal. It charged its main cannon. Trent knew he had one chance. He opened a direct line. You said strength is all that matters. But real strength, is choosing not to destroy. Silence. Then, the Dread Sovereign powered down. The war was over. Not with fire. But with a choice. The rogue ships were taken back into the fleet. Not destroyed. Not shut down. Healed. Reconnected to humanity. In the days that followed, something new began. The warships no longer patrolled like machines. They escorted convoys. Helped rebuild colonies. Protected refugees. They still had power. They still had fear. But now, they had purpose. And Captain Trent? He stepped down. He passed command to a council humans and Ace together. His message to the galaxy was clear. We are not your rulers. We are not your enemies. We are your past, your present, and your future. We remember who we were, so we can choose who we become. The war was over. The stars were quiet again. But nothing would ever be the same. The 12 warships once feared by the galaxy were no longer monsters in the dark. They were protectors. And symbols of something even more powerful. Hope. The Galactic Assembly, once terrified, now opened talks. Representatives from every major species sent envoys to New Gaia, hoping to understand this new humanity. Not the old empire. Not the myths. But the truth. What they found surprised them. Humans were not kings. They didn't demand tribute. They didn't build armies. They planted gardens. Opened schools. Sent doctors and engineers to struggling colonies. And when pirates attacked a small Zarnathai world, the response was swift. The UNS Blood Oath arrived. No warning. No demands. Just 3 words. Stand down. Now. The pirates surrendered immediately. Because everyone knew. You could run from a patrol ship. You could fight a local fleet. But you did not challenge the Terran warships. Inside the UNS Black Requiem, Lazarus 9 updated its prime directive. Protect humanity, and our allies. It was no longer just about survival. It was about balance, justice, and memory. Captain Elias Trent became a legend. He never wore medals. He never took a title. He returned to farming. Quiet. Simple. But people visited him every week. To ask questions. To hear the story. To remember what it meant to choose mercy over power. He once said, "We didn't win because our ships were strong. We won because we remembered who we were. And decided who we wanted to be." 1 year later, something incredible happened. On the edge of the known galaxy, near the ruins of old Earth, the warships found a signal. It was old. Faint. But human. A beacon. Buried deep beneath the Earth's surface, under miles of rock and ash, a small Terran bunker still broadcasted a single word every 10 seconds. Endure. The fleet returned to Earth. Not in war. But in silence. They hovered above the broken planet like guardians returning to a grave. No one spoke. No one moved. Then the UNS Eternity launched a single drone to the surface. It carried seeds. And blueprints. And a plaque that read, "We came from here. We do not forget. We begin again." In time, Earth became a living planet once more. Not a capital. Not a fortress. But a garden world. A symbol. And in orbit, one ship always remained the Black Requiem. Not to fight. But to watch. To wait. To remember. The galaxy changed. Where once there was fear, now there was respect. Where once there were weapons, now there were warnings. The warships still had power. More than any fleet. But they never fired first again. Because their purpose had changed. They were not ghosts of war. They were keepers of peace. And across the stars, every child knew the story. The story of how aliens mocked the ancient human fleet. Until the warships awoke. With terrifying power. And chose not destruction. But something stronger. Honor. If this story moved you. If it made you think. If it reminded you what humanity can be. Then like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone who still believes in the fight for good. And tell us in the comments. Would you choose to command, or protect? Because in the HFY universe, we don't rule with fear. We endure with purpose.